Welcome back to Say It With Pride, a limited series podcast featuring honest conversations about the reality of living in queer Ireland today. We're sharing stories from across generations, looking at what it's like living with pride in Ireland now versus how differently others may have lived it.
It's not a decision. It's not a decision for me. It's taken me, like, I didn't come out in my 20s to them and my 30s to the world.
In this episode, we're joined by 3 people, all who have used their presence on social media to build platforms for real influence. We have Cian Griffin, a Gaeilgeoir and social media creator who is reclaiming the language for a new generation. Leanne Woodfull, a veteran creator who has navigated the Irish internet for over 15 years. And Jenny Maguire, a prominent activist and former president of the TCDSU, who made history as the first trans woman to lead the union. Our final episode of Say It With Pride will be dropping next Thursday, so remember to come back for a very special episode.
Of course I kissed her. I was like, you know what?
Oh my god!
I was like, fuck him.
Yeah.
As always, remember to like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, but for now, enjoy this conversation with Cian, Leanne and Jenny.
Happy Pride, everyone. Happy Pride. Are we feeling a lot of broad today?
Oh,
Yeah, sure.
Cian, are you feeling a lot of broad?
I'm feeling very caffeinated.
Feeling very caffeinated. Well, and you're
Yeah.
proud of it.
Yeah.
Always.
Always.
Yeah.
How are you feeling? Leanne?
Very caffeinated as well. Actually, it's very on brand.
Thank God.
Yeah, yeah.
Run
Thank
on
you.
fumes.
Yeah.
We all did a coffee enema before we got here, and then we hit it.
That's
They're
exactly
very
it.
facilitating.
Yeah, yeah.
Pride is not just a word; it is an act.
It's a lifestyle.
It is an act. Well, how are you feeling for Pride? Are you excited?
Pride kind of terrifies me because I'm like, it's so fun, but
Yeah.
it's so tiring. It's like,
Yeah, I know.
in a good
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
I'm so-
And,
this is
and
so negative.
what about it? Why do you enjoy the tiringness of it?
I just think it's fun to be. I just like the opportunity to like shove it in straight people's
Mhm.
faces.
Mm-hmm.
Make my life more about me.
Yeah.
That
So
was
Leo.
Well,
You
there we
don't believe
go.
in stars.
Well, you
we
don't
were trying to
believe-
find a way to shoehorn star
We're trying
signs.
to- we're
Okay,
thinking-
go.
Sorry.
How are we going to make this about star
Yeah,
signs?
yeah.
Every single question that comes up, just like, that is such a sad thing to say. I have no idea.
I've never heard people say sad.
We do need to bring up the fact that we are representing all 3 fire signs right now. I think that's iconic.
Well, is that not what we're proud about?
Stunning. Yeah,
Thank you.
that's why we're here.
I'm a Sagittarius, which means I'm ambitious and didn't read the rest of it. What about you?
Aries. Just fun. I think all fire signs are fun. We don't shut up.
No, we're only at the
Love that
start, so
about
we'll
us.
see.
Yeah, I know. True. And yeah, spicy.
And why
I'm a
don't you feel
Leo.
connected to Miss Star Sign?
I feel connected to the fact of like main character energy, but
Mhm.
I don't. Well, yeah, naturally, I don't.
We need to
count
find out
anyone
your
else's.
rising though.
Well, yeah, well, I know what that
After.
means.
You see, do you know like what does rising mean?
That's who. Okay, so rising
God, this is so gay.
historically, I know.
At the gate, what the word pride behind you is enough, my love.
Historically, that's your most quote unquote important sign.
Hi.
Yeah,
I'm a Sag rising as well.
I think
that's
I'm
so iconic. I'm a Leo rising.
actually one of my friends. This is how little my friends care. We were talking about star signs, and one of them was like, I've vertigo.
Oh, love.
My
Yeah, the
my
13th sign.
I was on the phone to my nana the other day. You just reminded me, and she turns around to me and says, I've got an awful vertigo. She meant
Stop.
vertigo. She's 82 years of age, and maybe she does have awful Viagra.
Iconic.
But like, God bless her. Will we go into the questions,
Yeah,
my love? Let's do it.
The early years.
What's-
When you look back at being a kid, can you remember the exact moment it clicked for you that you were different from everyone else in your school or your friends around you?
Leanne, do you have an answer for this?
Yeah, and it's very like so typical for like Y2K era, but all the things she said, tattoo, video, no, seriously.
Change lives.
I remember though, like I always, when I think back, and I get really sad because even though my family wasn't so religious, it was like Catholicism in our society made me feel so much shame in that moment instantly. Like when I was feeling things watching that video, I think I was probably like 8 or 9, immediately felt shame. Wrong. Like, oh my God, I need to like switch this off or like turn this off. But yeah, it was literally that video because I was like, what is going on? I like it.
And how do you think, do you, in what ways now, like obviously you're looking back at like 8 or 9-year-old you,
Yeah.
how do you think that shame progressed into like pushing into you for fighting back and being so vocal?
I think It's been a huge journey for me, and I think it's still something I'm trying to unpack because it's so ingrained in my brain. Like I was in and out as a teenager to some people. I've a very strange coming out story, but like in and out, went back in, and I didn't come out properly until I was 25. So
Oh my
I'm
God.
only out like less than a decade.
Oh my God.
And it was all shame. Like that's like my life kind of lesson is unlearning that. And again, I don't come from a hugely religious family. It was like Ireland, the whole like scope of shame across this country is like in my cells,
Because
you know?
I think like that shame, or like for me, like I remember I would be standing on my bed at 3 years old, and we had a little telly that had a built-in like a video player, VCR player in it,
Yeah.
and I would put on The Wizard of Oz every night. I know, talk about stereotypes.
Oz.
So let's go way back.
Yeah,
Friend of
yeah,
Dorothy since day one.
yeah,
And I would stand on my bed
yeah.
and I would sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow. I shared a room with my twin brother, God bless him, and I would stand on the bed and then I would turn it off after she just got to Oz, because I thought there's nothing as magical as like realizing you're in this new place. And like that was me unapologetic. They used to bring me around to other play school classes and I would sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow for them. And that's why I'm the woman
I'm too
I am
hormonal
today.
for this.
I know.
I'm not gonna cry.
I'm too
not
much
gonna
hay fever
cry.
for this.
Oh.
And like, but like that was me in my purest form. That was me just like following my own rules and what my natural instincts were. And like, for me, but I was made feel different in that, like, I remember being in play school and like I would be helping the girls getting into their like dress up dresses, like princess dresses and like this, that, and the other. And then it wasn't until I was told, oh, you walk funny, or you talk too high, or you this, that, and the other. And so like it is other people that made me feel different. I was different, but like that was something that was celebrated in the first few years. But like it was everyone else that had an issue.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
felt that was you in your purest form,
Yeah.
and then everyone else indoctrinated
Yeah.
you, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my
Yeah.
experience as well. Because I felt like in looking back, I was obviously different, but I didn't care. And there was other people in my life. I remember being on the green in our estate, and loads of kids were doing dress up, and I was wearing like, it wasn't even a dress. It was like an androgynous look, I'd say,
Yeah.
but it was more typically appropriate for women apparently. And I remember one of the adults quizzing me, being like, why are you wearing a dress? And I was
Yeah.
like, what? I was like less than 10. And then I remember kind of going head to head with him on like a 10-minute interrogation of trying to
Yeah.
prove. And I was like, I didn't feel wrong in doing that until I was put in a box by an adult. At school, we were getting our sex
Yeah.
education from a nun.
Yeah.
We anonymously wrote questions down. And I was like, oh, like, what happens if two men love each other?
Mhm.
No, she was like, I'm not answering anything to do with same-sex marriage. Binned it. I was like, okay, that's another adult figure in my
There's
life
some answer
telling
for
me
you.
that there's
Yeah.
something wrong.
Yeah.
That every week in mass, gay people are going to hell. I was like, class.
Imagine the party.
I know,
Slay.
I don't
stunning.
know
I
what
can't
real
wait.
gay
If
people are.
Look, if it's real, hey.
Heaven's full of everyone that doesn't sin. Oh my God,
Yeah,
shy
stunning.
crack,
Yeah.
shy
Yeah.
crack.
But yeah, I think
Yeah.
we're all echoing kind of the same thing. It's other
Mhm.
people putting that shame
What
on
do you
us.
what do you think it is that like would make an adult or like look at a child or like make someone look at those around them and say and try to control how they are living? What is the threat there?
I think there's nothing more powerful than someone who is living their true self and
It's
knows who they
dangerous.
are. And people hate seeing other people
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah.
Fear.
Realistically,
Yeah.
fear, jealousy,
Yeah.
regret, probably.
Yeah. I think in Ireland as well, 'cause we're of the generations that are kind of coming out of this really, colonized Catholic, shameful, dark era of Ireland, even though now, obviously we're regressing in a lot of ways. But I think because Gen Z and millennials, we've questioned the status quo,
Yeah.
and that really frightens some people. So instead of approaching it with like open-mindedness or curiosity, they tell you it's wrong from the get-go.
And this isn't a new phenomenon. Like you look back at Gerald of Wales and like Topographica Hibernica, like one of the first written accounts of Ireland, which was just colonizing propaganda. They used like women riding horses with boat legs over both sides as like as a breaking of gender norms, as like a justification for that colonization. And that like they would talk about bearded women like being on like the high councils, and that like the Irish people weren't able to rule themselves because they weren't following the rules and they were being barbaric and they were being savages, and that like this has always been the way, and like queerness I think threatens power. And I think like whether you are, you know, watching a music video and having strange feelings in my tummy, or like singing somewhere with a rainbow on your bed, or like playing dress up in a field, like that is a threat to power. And that is what I think like it has always been. And queerness like has been in a way depoliticized, but is still very deeply political. And I think when we don't acknowledge that, we are the ones that suffer.
It really is.
Mic drop.
Mic
Like
drop.
stunning.
Thank you. I'm just reading off the cue cards. Okay, well, we do another question.
Yes.
No.
We do another. No.
Go.
So the process. You've all had very different journeys and timelines when it comes to living authentically. What was that process actually like for you coming out? Leanne, you just spoke about this briefly. What do you have anything else that when like, or what you were talking about coming in and out?
Yeah.
What was that like, and how did that process lead you to where you are today?
Like, excuse my French, but it was a head fuck even for me.
Yeah.
Like when people ask about my coming out story, it's really hard to articulate and like summarize. But I basically, long story short, started blogging in 2009 when I was 16. Started YouTube soon after, I think it was the year after, and that kind of catapulted me into this like online platform, a really new platform. Like
Yeah.
it was
New
like
world.
the early days of all of this, right? So I think I was always very authentic. You know, I was a huge emo when I was a teenager, always kind of in
You
the whole
don't say.
subculture. Well, no, I was like super emo, then a scene kid, and I was always interested in like subcultures and like being different and authentic and all that. But when I got kind of catapulted into this huge online platform, and at the time it was very easy to blow up because it wasn't as saturated, you start getting like online hate or, you know, abuse and stuff thrown at you. So I think over a couple of years I started, I don't know, like soaking it up and kind of believing what people were saying about me. And ironically, instead of, you know, when people are like, oh, you know, I hid who I was when I was a teenager, then in my early 20s I came out, I did the opposite. So I was more out and proud of my sexuality when I was a teenager. Then I went back into the closet. And even look, I campaigned for the marriage referendum, like on all my platforms, but I was just an ally. Like even that didn't get me out of the closet. I was an NCAD, like all the different.
Here.
No, come here. But this is how I know.
They don't have a queer sock there. It's just the whole
No.
college.
But like just so straight. Just a very passionate ally. But like looking back, I'm like, that's how like it had solidified in my bones. The shame again was coming from a different direction at this stage. But yeah. I think I always say like when you're 25, your brain stops developing. I'm always like, is that what
You got your frontal lobe
yeah,
developed.
did she like knock one day and be like, hey,
Hello,
hey
you're
girl,
gay.
yeah, girls, eh? But yeah, it's a very, I don't know, I went to therapy for years and tried to kind of dive into it. I think there's a lot of layers to my coming out story. And again, I kind of thought I was bi for a while and then unlearned a lot of compulsive heterosexuality. And yeah, my 20s, I always feel like I had delayed adolescence a lot of us experience. I really do think my 20s again, I felt like I was 16 again in a lot of ways.
Keith, did that point of delayed adolescence resonate with you?
You're such a host.
Thank you
There's
so
no
much.
host here.
I'm hosting.
Yeah. I love
Host
it.
only. Will not travel.
Yeah, I think the delayed adolescence is a thing, but everything you said, I echo, like except for the being out at an early age. Yeah, I think when I was growing up, I went to an all boys school. Like, kind of, like technically it was a desh for a while, then it upgraded.
Transitioned.
Yeah, it transitioned into a non-desh school. And I think it like the town was ruled by the GA club. It was a very old Irish traditional process, and I was trying so hard to assimilate to the people around me. I was kind of friends with the sportier crowd at the time, but also friends with the kind of nerds. And I was trying to decide where I wanted to be and trying to assimilate to both, or trying to assimilate to the sports side. I felt like I was still getting so much hate, and my biggest learning curve is everything I got hate for when I was pretending to be like that person is the exact same hate I still get now on social media.
Wow.
It's like the same hate comments, the same, like, just all the aspects of my life that people pick at, they picked at before I was living this true self life. And I feel like that is just such a big lesson for me and for anyone listening. Like, I realized I was gay because everyone else told me I was, not because I realized it was really a thing. It just taught me to, like, hiding yourself isn't really gonna help anything. You're still going to be picked on. You're still going to be bullied. This is meant to be a motivational point.
You're totally fine. Keep talking.
But like the haters will exist no matter what.
Exactly.
So you might as well be happy in who you are,
Yeah.
because if you're getting hate from them and you're hating yourself,
Yeah.
it's not really fun.
I've been struggling, like, obviously, like, I'm very vocal and very visible and this, that, and the other, and just like as a trans woman, and like often I'm in places that like there hasn't been other trans women, and it is doing things that like even though like only in spaces like this I actually talk about transness, I talk about this, that, and the other. I'm often talking just about politics or talking about anything, but like it's still like the comments are not attacks on my opinions, they're attacks on me being there in the first place. And like that is so hard. Is like I'm 24, I've been doing this for a few years, and like but that is like the majority of my transition has been like in front of a camera, or like in like speaking on a megaphone, or this, that, and the other. And it's been a separate journey, almost separate to my transition, about like I knew who I was, and I wanted to live as who I was. And then other people's opinion, I think, did and does get in the way of me just trying to be exactly me. Like, because I really take it to heart too. And then, like, when I see just comment after comment, or even AI like versions of me, and people like me taking off like clothes to reveal like I'm a man written across my chest, and like this, that, and the other. Like, it is a journey that it doesn't end. Like, it is a journey that you must still continue to live in, because that opposition to us living and us just being still exists and is still everywhere. But I think like in spaces like this, and like we can talk openly, and we can find community. I think I saw something great the other day that like community is, there's never a community. It is your community, and it is about making that.
Oh, I love that.
And it is about like finding the people, because there will always be divas even within the community who are trying to be like, I don't know, the good gay, or trying to be the good trans, or this, that, and the other. But like the best are the ones that are messy, and the best are the ones that are throwing things out and are marching to their own beat of their own drum, without the influence of money, without the influence of any of these things.
100%.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what I was trying to say in mine. I think I spent so long trying to be the palatable gay, and being like,
Well, no one
they'll
could.
like
No,
me.
you're not palatable at all. Don't worry, honey.
Right. But, like, now that's a compliment. I'm like, thank God. I'd hate to be fucking
Yes.
boring. Or like when people used to be like, oh, I wouldn't know you're gay, I'd be like, oh my God. Now I'm like,
Yeah.
I hate when that's said to me as well, especially when you're like cis, femme presenting white woman. I'm like, I'm so aware of the privileges, but also maybe that's something I enjoy about Pride as well. I love being really loud and like
yeah.
big lesbian top on me or something. Because I feel like every day, double entendre.
As opposed to your rest of your.
I'm like fire signs. But like, yeah, it's weird. It's like years ago, I would have been saying, "Oh my God, I'm like undetected," whereas now I'm
Can't
like,
clock
no,
it.
like
I'm gonna tell my
I used to get a
barista I'm gay if
carabiner.
they don't ask.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That literally happened to us earlier.
Yeah. Cian, the Irish language taught in schools is often tied to a very traditional way of Irish culture. Tell us how you use your platform to move the language away from that school setting and into a modern queer space.
Oh,
Love.
I'm actually going to say, before I delve into that, I would credit a lot of my coming out journey to the Irish language. I studied Irish in college. People, like everyone I know that is gay has Irish.
Yeah.
Love.
And I
Grok.
think it was a weird for me. My family and my friends from home don't have any Irish. So I was like, Gaeilgeoir existed in its form as is long before I came out. And I was exploring myself very publicly, but also privately online and on the radio.
Exploring yourself privately.
The Dirty Podcast.
Sponsored by Durex. But I think my train of thought is so. Now I'm trying to think of jokes instead of my point.
You're fine.
What was I saying?
You're saying about none of your family have Irish
yes.
and gay
So,
people.
I was like
You
kind
know.
of like I had a radio show on the air on like FM radio.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and
Wow.
that's where Gaeilgeoir started, a radio show where I was talking about gay shit, Oscuelga, just to learn to upgrade to like improve my Irish. And I was being very visible and exploring that side of myself. And it was only over the years, I guess, when my page was becoming more mainstream, that I fused my English straight life with my Irish queer life. And yeah, people really resonated with it, and now it's kind of about Irish education in like the not safe for work sense, and like just mundane gay representation, which I think is something I like to talk about as well. Like, obviously, I think activists and really vocal, loud, out and proud people are important, but I also think just mundane representation, role models that are like, I'm
But
probably not
and
an
I think
example of that.
but I also think you can't escape it with Gaeilge. I think like there is something inherently queer about it. Like, and
Yeah.
obviously going
Mm,
back to that colonization point, but
yeah.
also on the point of that, like even as something like I always used to joke with my friends that like had Gaelicized their names, that like your dead name, like it is like it is like a transition, and it is a breaking of norms, and often it is the same shame and rules that like often and I feel like within the queer community we are often we still hold we still hold on to that colonized brain, and it comes from being that good gay, and
Yeah,
it comes
yeah.
from being like
100%.
this, that, and
Oh
the
my God,
other.
Yeah.
goosebumps.
I know, but it
Yeah.
does, and it is
Yeah.
the exact same, and that like in order to really appreciate and live in your queerness and in your Irish queerness, which is a gift you've been given, that like it is your responsibility to unpack both your shame, your personal shame, and then the shame that has been taught to you, whether through like an education system that doesn't properly look into our history of colonization and doesn't look into like the way Gaeilge is minoritized, and like in the same way that queer people are pushed down, and there's so much overlap within that.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think there's a study that two PhD researchers up north did. I can't remember the name of the study or the researchers, but it's basically an exploration of the parallels between Irish in a post-colonial world and being queer, and they're both anti-establishment. It's all very they're actually
Right.
very very aligned, and I'd actually say I
Yeah.
am not necessarily queerifying the Irish language, but I think it's helping queerify me. Oh my God, clip it.
Ooh.
That's
Yeah.
fabulous.
But I'm just like, I think Irish
Yeah.
is
She's producing.
inherently queer in the sense that it's so others.
100%.
And
Yeah.
also, sorry, I'll let you talk in a second.
No, I totally agree. I'm like, keep going.
I'm like, a lot of minorities or double minorities, I think Irish as a minority language understands otherness and being othered and being ostracized, that it's a much more welcoming space for queer people because they understand the prejudice and the otherness.
What is Leanne? What is your relationship to Gaeilge and modern Irish culture?
Like, again, it's one of those things, like, there's so many layers to it. So I'm like, I was raised Catholic, but I went to a Protestant primary school.
Oh my God.
We had a separate religion class. There was only like about 8 of us in the class who made our communion. It was very, and again, I don't come from a very religious family, so it was more like societal, like
Cultural.
this, yeah, cultural, this big picture. And I knew shame was at the root of it all. Like, that was always present in my head. Um, the older I got in my teen years, I remember, I can't remember what case it was, but there was one of the news stories came out about an abusive priest, and it was just something in my head just switched off. I was like, I'm disowning all of this Catholicism, everything to do with it. And even now to this day, when my sister was making her confirmation, I was meant to be the sponsor.
Yeah.
And it was a week after the two babies were discovered, and I was like, I'm not. Like, you'll understand when you're older, which she does. But like, like, everyone in my family knows me. I just do funerals in a church. I don't fuck with the Catholic Church at all.
Yeah.
Like, burn it to the ground. I could like speak for days, be a whole
Yeah.
other podcast episode. But I think dismantling that and unpacking that, only through this conversation, I'm like, God, there's so many similarities with my journey of queerness as well. Like, there's so many, like, the money or the pin dropped for me there so many times. Both of you were talking, I was like, holy shit, like,
It's so interlinked, and I think like
100%.
it is a journey within itself you have to go on, and that you
Yeah.
have to unlearn, and it is not something that, because everything we do, like whether it is looking at a sign on the street and the Irish is smaller than the English, or
Yes. Yeah.
it's going into, or it's like in Wales you can order from a fast food restaurant or like on one of the screens in Welsh, but you can't do that as Gaeilge. Like that is something that is the absence of Gaeilge and the absence like from modern Irish life is a political decision that continues to be reinforced because it's not taken seriously. And that's what I think.
And I think as well, with the whole Gaeilge renaissance we're seeing at the moment, I know there's a lot of criticism with it, with like the plastic patties and stuff, but I think ultimately, in the long run, we're going to reflect back on this time, and it's like the amount of Irish language speakers that are going to come out of this decade Like I'd say again, in like 50 years, we'll look back on this time and be like, holy shit, like the emergence of fashion, music, like
yeah.
it's really exciting.
I feel the same way about Irish language and culture now that I did at the marriage referendum time for queer culture. I'm like, I'm so excited to be in this part of my life now.
And I
'Cause
think it's our
it's-
responsibility as queer people and like queer people who have some sort of platform that like that we are marching alongside that, because as you said, it's so interlinked. And so to not recognize that this moment and this opportunity like is ours for the taking as well, and that we can all benefit from it, is what we need to be looking at. And I think that's what you're doing, Keen.
Yeah, I'm gonna cry. I'm like, I love Gaeilge.
I love
And I love
Gaeilge.
the
Same.
moment it's having
Like,
Yeah.
quickly.
quite no claim for.
I just
like,
think like it's so linked to my coming out journey and who I am and yeah, my identity. Like I would say the two pillars of my existence are being gay and having Irish.
You
And I
can
think
tell
they're
that from
so
your page.
interlinked.
Yeah.
Gaeilgeoir.
But I just think they're so interlinked
Yeah.
and they're so equally important. I think people don't understand the power language can have. Like a lot of the criticism I got in the early years before this moment was like people, like Irish is beyond a school subject and people couldn't get past that. I think as a society, we finally gotten past that and people are starting to feel shame about those opinions instead of pointing the finger at the education system. Now the education system is flawed, but like I hated PE in school. That's not stopping me from running a 5K in my 30s. Grow up.
So, Cian, tell us how you use your platform to move the language away from that school setting and into a more modern queer space.
So yeah, I feel like it took me a while to find my niche, but I was like in my head trying to figure out how do I change people's perceptions of the Irish language and what content do they need? People are always saying, oh, the shit we learn in school isn't applicable to real life. We're rote learning stuff about poetry. I'm like, okay, well, what actually matters to people? Being able to discuss nights out and sex and drugs and music and all the like adult topics that young people talk about. So I was just like, okay, I threw up a few videos and that really resonated. Like I kind of fell out of the content creation for a while because I was just getting so much hate on both angles, from the Irish language perspective and the queer perspective, that I just stopped. But then I think I went on a TV show. I'm not even going to name it, but I went on a TV show that in Irish that like rejuvenated my graw for the language, and I was like, no, this is important. And I guess it's about changing perceptions and making Irish more accessible. I think typically it was only people that went to Cunra or Gael culture lessons, which are great, by the way, and the Gaeilgeoir run Irish language classes. Those are great, but I was like, that's not accessible to everyone. Oftentimes they're in Dublin, and they're expensive. So I'm like, how do I bring the Irish language to people on their phones? And there's been such an explosion of Irish language content creators. Obviously, my FYP is built brick by brick by me.
Yeah.
But a lot of my friends say like Gaeilge is everywhere now, and I'm like, that makes me moist.
What was the first word you taught people on your platforms? Like, can you remember a phrase or?
So no, but one of the more prominent ones, I was at a thing last week for Irish and there was another Gaeilge there who was like 21, I think. And he was like, oh my God, can I get a photo with you? One of your sounds is like a meme in our friend group. And it's the Irish for fingering is igmeru. And I was like, oh,
God.
I'm educating the children.
It's important. It's so
Like ihapita, giving someone a lick out.
Oh,
good. Good. I know. I'll tell my mom about that one when I go home. It's
What
important
say
that
fight that guy.
it's important that every area of life can be done. To
A lot of it is
Gaeilge.
sex, I'm not gonna lie.
But good.
And like
Yeah.
like orgies, rim jobs, blow jobs, like shove that
I like
is
them
a
all
bit
when
of
they
like a
pop up. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
the shock factor is important. Like you need to get people's attention on social media nowadays. It's so saturated. So it's like a vulgar word that makes them stop scrolling, and then education.
But it's an interrupter to their own perceptions of Gaeilge, and
Yeah,
it is something
exactly.
that like and so that is something that like when you do that, you can spawn off people going on their own journey.
Yeah.
Within that.
Jenny, you made history as the first trans woman to serve as the president of the TC. Jenny,
Hi.
you made history. Oh, I love to read. Jenny, you made history as the first trans woman to serve as the president of the TCD-SU, leading to major activism for housing and student rights. How did you navigate the pressure of the national spotlight of being a first in the role while also just being a woman trying to get the work done for the people you represented?
In the same way I view my queerness as intertwined with transness, I also see it intertwined with political struggles like Palestine, like fighting for housing rights, fighting for minoritized people, because ultimately it is the same things that are fighting against us. And so when I like got the ability to have a greater platform and like go on mainstream media and talk about student issues, like I still like any kind of backlash I was getting, though it was so hard. And at times, like when I started the job, the college was getting like hundreds of phone calls calling for my resignation from just people that didn't go there, because I was, just for being trans, I was a threat to women and girls, and that I was a threat to everyone on the campus, and that I was a dangerous misogynist.
And who
Because
told you about this? Like, were you
well,
informed?
the they were ringing the provost, which is the president of Trinity's office, and like we were getting phone calls to our offices, and my emails were flooded, and like that is something that happened. And I remember just lying on the ground and just being like, oh my God, this is so unfair. But I still, at the same time, it's about balancing that, like, and I'm here and I'm doing it, and that it is something that we have to keep going and keep pushing through. And anything that I take, it could make it 10% easier for the person that comes after me, because the shock of just having a trans person on your telly at 7 a.m. or like on your radio, or like giving interviews on newspapers about student issues that you've heard about for years, that like my voice is just as important, and I was elected just as much as anyone else. And I remember even when in Trinity we had an encampment for Palestine that was incredibly successful. It led to Trinity becoming the first university in the West to cut all ties with Israel. And during the encampment, I was sleeping on the floor. I was like, I didn't have any makeup, I didn't have any hair, I wasn't anything, but I was still going on camera, and like all these people were just running with it, like that. And so, but it is because of that hate that I say, oh, you actually just don't like progress. You actually just don't like freedom. You don't like, because it threatens power and it threatens money and it threatens capital. And so ultimately, it isn't about me. Even though some of them are very personalized and they do hurt, as I said, it is never about you. And it is always about that person and what they are trying to protect in themselves, because the world is so scary and they've had to build up these bridges around themselves.
Yeah, you're a scapegoat.
Yeah.
Like everything, like I'm such a huge fan, like not to fangirl, but like I've heard you speak at so many marches and like demos over the years. I just think you're incredible. But like every time I hear you speak, and even like sharing your experience there, like self-care wise, like I'm just so curious, like what do you do in those moments? Like that's
If I'm honest, like
like
at this
what
time, I'm really struggling with it. And like there's there's peaks and valleys to it. And like it's hard, because like the things I love to do and the things that I think like I have the opportunity to do uniquely than that other people don't, I the I just get backlash. No one says nice things, because people just like, they'll like it and be like, oh, good for her. But like I just get my dead name posted everywhere, and I just get like people doing the AI images, and people like going in and talking about my parents and talking about my family and like this, that, and the other, just for being. And so I guess the
Yeah.
self-care is the community point, because you
Yeah.
cannot do one without the other. And like
Yeah.
I would be doing a disservice if I was just going out and talking on behalf of people and being seen as some sort of representative without being in the community with people. And like that is my life, because when you realize that the world isn't just the thing you're fighting against, it's also the thing that you can create, that is ultimately the ultimate safeguard. And people have done so in much worse conditions, and people continue to do so in much worse conditions. And so that is something that you have to fight for, and you're not just fighting against things.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
inspiring. You know,
I
when you get goosebumps and
Yeah.
someone's talking, I'm like, wow.
I think though on
Thank
that
you.
point, I feel like because you're often in a bit of a vacuum. I feel like I'm in a vacuum sometimes with my haters. I've never seen any of those AI things. I've never seen anything about your parents. I've never seen your dead. I don't know what your dead name is.
It reveal.
That's the hook. But I think just I follow you quite closely. We're in the
Thank
same
you.
world.
Yeah,
I've never seen any of that, so like it probably is worse
it is, and
as the
like,
person's receiving the eyeliner.
and like, we're all
myself.
self-obsessed.
Well, yeah.
I mean, we're here talking like it's some kind of like thing. Like, there's a level of ego to it.
Yeah.
Like, and I definitely have been guilty before of looking for it and this, that, and the other, because I'm like,
Oh, yes. same.
because
Yeah.
and that started
Yeah.
because when I was organizing marches and organizing things, I had to know if there was going to be a right-wing presence at it, so I know if I needed to have greater stewards, I need to do this, that, and the other. And so then it, like, and that is all a part of the job of the world we're in, because we have visibility but we have no real protections. When people are having to self-medicate their healthcare because there's no other options, when people are forced to make community, even though it's an amazing thing, when people are forced to come together and just for the act of survival, that, like, this is the context that we are operating within. And so I guess I would agree, Keen, and the same to you, and that, like I see more like Gaeilge hate towards you than anything else, because people are just so comfortable with it.
Yeah. I think what was I gonna say there? Oh yeah, I think hopefully this is eye opening for people who are listening, because I feel like, not to like like throw a pity party, but like I feel like the people who are making change are the ones who aren't trying to be palatable. They're not afraid to be the aggressor or the disruptor. Like, I'm often criticized with people like, oh, he's whinging again on the internet.
Literally
I'm like,
same.
if
Yeah.
someone doesn't whinge, nothing
Yeah.
changes.
Yeah.
And I think what you've discussed there, because I've been caught up in a bit of discourse in the past about like criticism towards influencers, but I think criticizing an influencer for a bad decision or like a hypocritical decision is not the same as hating an influencer for who they are, which is often the bracket we fall into. I'm hated because I'm gay, not because of what I'm saying. You're hated because you're trans, not, well, so also because some of the stuff you're
Because
saying.
I'm so horrible. Just
But you know, I think it's important to, like, the reason we are sitting here, the reason you can wear a fucking tank top in the George or march on the streets of Pride, is because of the queer people that came before you that weren't afraid to throw a metaphorical punch, or like to be the disruptor, to break the status quo. That's why we're here. That's why you are here. That's why you can get married. So like, maybe think about your criticisms when
Yeah.
you're criticizing the people that gave you your rights.
Yeah, just speaking on like the online environment and like how you interact with this world that isn't real but also has such big consequences. Leanne, you have been a creator for over 15 years.
Yeah.
Not to spill
Damn.
your tea.
No, literally.
but
What the hell is happening?
how has the environment for queer people changed online, do you think, since you first started posting? Is it more dangerous? Is it less? Is there, what do you think?
I think, again, I keep going back to that. Like, I feel like I've whiplash sometimes. There was a space where I felt it was safer, maybe like pre-COVID, whereas now, so many minorities, whether it's transphobia, racism, homophobia, misogyny online, I'm just seeing it on a more regular basis now than I did in 2017.
Yeah.
And again, it's just, look, we live in a world that's being run by far-right maniacs. That's going to be the reality.
Unpopular.
Yeah, and they all own these platforms.
Yeah.
You know? So, like, I'm well able for, again, I'm white, I'm cis, and I can present it straight to people scrolling on my page. They won't know any different. Okay, so there's privilege with that. But when I receive, say, some lesbophobia in the comments or whatever, all I think about is minorities who don't have those privileges. Like, I don't know, 10 years ago, we'd less comments like that propping up, well, from what I was seeing. But I think I had better, I don't know, coping skills back then when it comes to like just scrolling away, clicking on to a next video, whereas now I've realized I actually need to physically remove the phone from my vicinity.
Me too.
For a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel
know?
like the manosphere and like the new age of people coming up and entering this space with that education are also contributing massively to it, where there's like less of a reluctance to even hide. Like, 'cause normally a lot of the hate I get is from an anonymous account. I'm starting to see now people are just posting hate from their government name
Surname.
accounts,
Yeah.
jobs visible.
Mhm.
Like, that to me is an alarming step backward of like, people are so comfortable being so hateful in the comment section with their full name on display. And I think that's just the stepping stone into like physical violence in real life, regression of rights. Like, I think all those gobshites that have
And-
platforms online are,
And even like I've had to like when I post a video, especially as the algorithm means that like your video content is going to go further and going to reach a wider audience. Anytime I post a video, I have to turn the comments off, which means that it doesn't go as far, which means it doesn't get as much engagement, means that less people are seeing it. And when I'm talking about like trans people should have rights, it is minorities that are doing that to protect themselves. But the people that aren't doing that is the right wing people, and is the people that are speaking against them because they're being seen as this big man, because they are in support of masculine structures and patriarchy that like that they aren't threatening anything. They are upholding the status quo. Whereas when we speak out, and especially and like that's why I think it's important that we have people who are in greater positions are in positions where they maybe even aren't even a part of the community. I don't want people to be afraid to speak out for trans issues because they aren't trans. Because when I have to do it, it's you are a man. Whereas when they do it, like, oh, you're like, it isn't about their identity. And so you have that extra layer of protection. Whereas, like, I think it's important that, and it feels very identity politics, which I always take pause in. But I think, like, there is something to be said in terms of our the world of algorithms and that we operate within. That it is that people all step up and are just as vocal as anyone else, because I'm vocal and I'm talking about these things, but if no one else is, and I've had to turn the comments off, and I've had to, turn off sharing and turn off this, that, and the other, then it's only going to go so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grassroots versus mainstream. Okay, it's people who work within the community, whether through language, activism, or media. Do you think the original meaning of pride is being lost as it becomes more corporate and mainstream?
Well, like, this is something that has been happening since the birth of Pride. This is something that's been happening since the gay liberation movement, the sexual liberation movement, street transvestites, people like we talk about, black trans women were at the front. That doesn't mean let's just put a trans woman on the front of this corporate pride. It means trans women that were marching with the Black Panthers.
Yes.
It's trans people that were homeless and that were just taking people in for this because that was community.
Yeah.
And like, I think this has been a conversation that is not new, and we shouldn't think of it as new. That like, oh well, just because Amazon is pulling away from investing in DEI or this, that, and the other, they're like, oh my God, this is a horrible thing that's happened. But this is actually just the result of what the Pride movement that has been built. Pride is something that at its best is radical. Pride is at the 1992 Dublin Pride when someone stood up at the end and whipped off their thong and was just naked on the street. That was community, and that was people coming together and cheering and loving each other for exactly who they are. Not because Google told them to, not because this, that, and the other. Because it'll always, when our lives get in the way and our interests and our needs get in the way of money will always come first.
100%. It's harsh truth, but it's reality.
And I think it's because the direction Pride has taken. Pride felt like a celebration for a small period of like, we got our marriage referendum, we're moving in the right direction. And that's when brands were like, okay, palatability, it's cool to be gay.
100%.
Let's jump in on that conversation.
Yeah.
Now that we've progressed into the point where the far right are being more vocal and trans people are under attack and the gay community are rallying behind that, now we're like, oh, it's a bit messy, it's a bit complicated. Let's not be part of this political movement. It's not a celebration anymore. It's not. And I think it just speaks to what you said. We're not profitable, and it's a brand risk to be.
Yeah.
And like with Transit Intersex Pride, which I'm a co-organizer on, that takes place in July. Like, we had 10,000 people come out last year. 10,000 people. You don't get
heat. I was there. I nearly passed.
It was the hottest day of the year.
Yeah.
And that is one of the biggest marches that took place the whole year, not just for the trans issues, not for Palestine, for housing. It was bigger than all of them because we were radical and we said it out front, and we said we were going to need exactly what we need, and we're going to say that.
Yeah.
And it's not like there's not an interest there. It's the lack of courage from organizers and from people. And of course, there's prides that happen across the country, especially community prides, that are absolutely fantastic. And I love to see local businesses getting in and buying into it, because that does make a safe space. Whereas when our our technological overlords like give us the thumbs up or not, like isn't going to make my life any better or not, because they're still building algorithms that incentivize anger against me.
That's it. And it's like, again, I'm just thinking of the fact, like, all of us, like, we're told we're too much, or God, you're always whinging, like, reminding these companies that Pride is and was a protest as well. Again, this
riot.
palatability, of shock, of like living loudly and boldly and whipping your tongue off if you want, you know what I mean? And it's this, again, like Keeman, you were saying after the marriage referendum, I'm just thinking of even like press packages, the chronological timeline of like Pride press packages. They just simmered down slightly over the last couple of years. Like little things like that, or even when you're in shops, again, now I love seeing all the, like every year, I love when like even the trans flags are out at, you know, the River Liffey when they have,
Dublin City Council does that. I like that.
You know, when you're just like, I love it so much. I love seeing it. But again, when it comes back to the tech overlords and what they're actually doing in their offices, you know, like DEI committees, or like I'm sure all of us have experienced, you know, people who are more than happy to say, yeah, we celebrate Pride, but it's like, well, what are you actually doing? Are you bringing in Belong To? Are you doing workshops? Are you, like, it's, you have to, like, you can't just walk the walk, you have to talk the talk. Or is it the other way around?
A bit of both.
Yeah, a bit of both, sorry.
Yeah.
Reverse that. Edit that, reverse it.
I was like, you better not work.
You better work.
I was like, I do a lot of corporate talks during Pride, and a lot of the Q&A sections of them are like, how can we be better allies? And I'm like, as a business, I shouldn't be in here in June. What are you doing for the rest of the year when it's not tick the box exercise? How are you like progressing, whether small or big, the efforts for equality in your workplace outside of Black History Month or International Women's Day or Pride? I'm like, what do you do the rest of the year?
And also when you walk into these places, like walking into a room and everyone's white in 2026, I'm like, hello?
Exactly. And
You
then,
know,
but no,
hello?
sorry, though, like, and the few minorities, few people
Yeah.
of color are in the lowest paid
Yeah.
positions. Like, and then
Yeah.
you're gonna want me to come in and tell you to be a greater
Yeah.
ally. Put your money where your mouth is.
Especially in like marketing and advertising. Like, there's a lot of work to do in Ireland when it comes to this. Like, that's a whole podcast episode in itself, but it's kind of like, you can't just have it on a piece of paper or your flag every June or Black History Month to be like, Grant, we're doing that now. It's like, no, you actually need to like.
It's a misunderstanding of what diversity, equality, and inclusion is, because it is not just throwing minoritized people into spaces that have been designed to exclude them. Like, it is, because that is just emotional gaslighting of being like, well, you're here.
Can we take a photo of you for social media, whack it up? And it's like, it's performative. And
absolutely. And like, it actually takes some real guts and real change.
100%.
Do you want to do the next question?
I'm really bad at reading. It feels like I'm reading.
I wish I knew how to read.
The legacy. When you look at the Irish queer representation on social media today compared to when you were younger, what is the one thing you're most glad has changed and one thing you still think needs work?
I feel like it's a lot more politicized. Like, I think people are owning that our bodies are talked about as culture war issues, and we're talked about as something abstract, whereas we have taken that power that is being used against us and pushed it for good. I think like you'd seldom see like a march for like a cost of living thing or in Palestine without like an out and proud queer bloc or like this, that, and the other. And I think online spaces, it has reflected that like if someone has a trans flag in their bio, even like then they'll have a Palestine one as well, because it is something that is out and proud. Whereas like the shiny, polished identity, smiliness, love is love of the early 2010s and mid 2010s is something that we've seen the limits of, and that we are now. And that you touched on it, obviously, that like it is so much more dangerous and so different, and it's so omnipresent, the level of hate.
Yeah.
But we have responded to that not by backing down, but doubling down.
Yeah. And I think from an influencer, beauty, fashion influencer point of view, because like my FYP is just makeup tutorials. I'm still that girl. But like, I just love seeing a range of influencers across so many different, like whether it's a fucking gardening influencer, makeup influencer, and they just happen to be gay, just happen to be trans.
Yeah.
It's just like, when you think about the people who came before us, like that's what's given some, I don't know, 16-year-old on YouTube starting making tutorials, some trans girl down the country confidence. She feels safe enough to make those videos, to put it up. And it's like, again, I'm at this since 2009. So living through, I remember when Nikki Tutorials came out as trans, and like
Change lives.
People die.
Nikki
People
Tutorials,
die.
if you ever
People
see
die.
this, obsessed. Like,
Change lives.
like,
Change lives.
seriously though. And I remember reading those comments, I could nearly cry now. I'm like, it's amazing how like Nikki like is well aware, but like that video, or just like Nikki existing in herself, changed. Like there are people walking this planet right now whose lives changed because of Nikki Tutorials. And just knowing, like, I know this industry gets so much criticism and hate, but my God, like even us talking today, representation from all three of us, you never know who's listening.
And we're not being palatable.
No. Fuck
Especially
that.
Keen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But on that
Keen.
palatability,
Yeah.
keywords like I think even in my journey as a content creator, I've learned not, like, I tried so long to be palatable to brands, and I realized it was like sacrificing my morals. And I think the last year I've had of like, probably I've been told a lot by my PR friends that I'm very not brand safe anymore.
Same.
And
Yeah.
I've learned that
Yeah.
that just means like brand boring. You
Yeah.
have a personality that doesn't really exist for much.
Yeah.
They just plant their brand
You
on
can't
you.
be packaged.
Period.
Yeah.
But point I'm making is, I think getting to the point now where I'm very vocal and very angry online, and the girls and the gays that work in PR agencies are taking those steps and being a bit risk.
Yeah.
They've got a risk appetite for like, yeah, we still want to work with you, even though that. And I'm like, those brands stick out in my head of like, in the height of me being controversial, they're like, we want to work with you because we like that. And I'm like, that is so important for the people that are working behind the scenes in this industry. You are as important because you are actually the people who are making these decisions. You are giving the opportunities. You get to choose whose voices are amplified. And I think the more of queer voices amplified, the better.
Yeah.
Great.
And like for me, like I don't consider myself an influencer. I consider myself like an activist and a writer who uses social media, and I've used
And
social
an
media.
icon.
Yeah, and fashion icon.
No, seriously, no.
Fashion icon.
Capital I.
Okay, Kim Possible. I've been on social media since I was 11.
Yeah.
And like I've been using it, and like I had a Harry Potter fan account. I had like
Fuck
thank
J.K.
you,
Rowling.
Condolences.
thank
Yeah.
you, fuck J.K.
Jesus
Rowling.
Christ. Yeah.
Come on, twins,
Yeah.
let's yell together.
Honestly, if you're listening, fuck you.
Hey,
Yeah.
big fan.
Yeah.
Got to the end. But I think that like I think that like for me, like I have always been loud and I've always been angry, and I didn't go on this journey because like I was looking to go on podcast this and the other. I've always been someone that like I know I've done theater all my life, and I know I can sell things, and I know I can smile and be happy and this, that, and the other, and then get a message in at the same time. And so for me, like when people take risks on me and like have me on daytime telly and have me on this, that, and the other, like fair play to them, like, because I wouldn't be the person you would expect. And I'm so grateful for those that do take a risk on me and do like let my perspective, which is so many people's perspective, that like we can come out and still be heard.
Yeah, I think that's the
Yeah.
frustrating part, because a lot of the time our voices actually do represent the generation that we're in,
100%. Yeah.
but brands want to go with the safer option. But
Yeah,
what you
Gen
said-
X deserve to be heard.
Boomer rights.
But what you said about being angry, I think this is something I just want to get out. Like, I think you are well in your right to be angry. I think we all
I'm
are. We are
so
provoked
angry.
by society. We should be angry. And if you're listening to this as a gay person or as a trans person and you're not angry, I'm kind of concerned for you, because I'm like, that is
I'm jealous, honestly.
that part too. But like, you should be angry.
Yeah.
There's so
totally.
much shit going on
Yeah.
that you should have an opinion
At a
on.
point, it's ignorance.
Yeah.
I think as well, just like from like what you were both saying, I can't wait for the day like I'd be similar to Keen in that when a brand reaches out to me and I'm just like, after posting a heap of like Palestine posts or like whatever, I hate the fact that my thought process is now, oh wow, oh God, they're actually reaching out to me now after, yesterday's. But I can't wait for the day, or even like Jenny, you being on daytime TV, I can't wait for the day where that's just normal, like life. The fact that okay, we need to be revolutionary and we need to, like make a point. And I just can't wait for the day where we wake up and that's just like day-to-day life. Just our normal, like we don't need to be, not that I'm scared of brands not reaching out to me, but I'm very conscious of it. Like I know.
You still need to make
Same.
a living.
Yeah. Like that's, again, in a capitalistic world, that's unfortunately. I wish we were all living in like a women's, like, I don't know,
Utopia.
tribe. You can
Yeah.
come, you can visit.
You can come. You'll be on the
you know,
outskirts
waterfall,
for reproduction.
dogs
Ow.
everywhere. But like that is the reality, and like
Yeah.
I think like a lot of people during repeal didn't realize like the actual the other side of like being an activist. Like I used to, like, I don't know what I'd call myself either. I'm always so confused over
me
like what
too.
my job is. I don't know who I am. But like a creator, that's, you know, a content creator. But like there is a reality behind that. Like my career's never probably quote unquote fully recovered from those days, because just so many brands in Ireland especially, I think this is a very Irish
Yeah,
conversation.
100%.
There's so many old-fashioned archaic mindsets in PR and advertising in this country that, again, thank God we're breaking them down. But you do have those people who are like at the head of the ship of so many companies here. They're like, no way. Like, we don't want to get involved, but like it's controversial.
Yeah.
Controversial. It's like it's not controversial to want basic human rights.
Yeah. Will we finish up, girl?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay. Social media only ever shows a fraction of who you are. Before we finish, just before we wipe, we get the towel and wipe up. What is the best piece of advice you can give to someone trying to stay true to themselves while the world is watching? And how do you personally, quote, say it with pride?
Oh, roll credits. I would say, like I said, the assimilation piece, I tried so hard to pretend to be someone else to get a seat at the table. But like, those tables are shit crack.
I know.
Build your own table.
Yeah.
And I think I'm very privileged in the
Yeah.
sense I'm 30. I'm very comfortable in who I are. Who I am.
Who are?
Yeehaw.
In who I am. But like, if someone is homophobic towards me, I'm like, well, that's your issue. I don't
Yeah.
care.
Yeah.
Scarlett.
But
Yeah.
I think as a teenager, that would have, like, obviously, hindsight's 2020. I couldn't apply that logic, and I think as a teenager, everything can feel very catastrophized, and I didn't see a future for myself. And I think Níl Níl in Road Akshal is Shanachlan in Irish, where it's like, this shall pass, nothing lasts forever. The good times and the bad, but particularly the bad. School can be shite, but like you haven't unlocked your life yet. There's so many people you haven't met that you're gonna love and love you. I'm gonna cry for myself, but I'm just like, there's so many people I've only met in the last 5 years that have changed my life, and I'm like, there's so much ahead of you. Like, fuck building or trying to sit at the tables where you're not wanted. Find your other ones, find your tribe, and that is out there. And I think the internet has really made that more possible. As bad as it can be, community is so much easier to find. And I think, yeah, say it with pride.
I totally agree. And like, I've so many friends. I'm very lucky. I come from a very open-minded family. And again, there's so much privilege in that. But I've had so many friends who've had the polar opposite experience. And I think, again, if you're a teenager and, you know you're gay or you're trans or just like questioning, feel different in any way, and you mightn't feel safe telling your family or your close friend group at the time, like Cian said, there's people outside of like, your small little bubble at that very moment in time. When you're a teenager, you think everything's the be all and end all, and like, yeah, you catastrophize it. I think a huge part for me was I still struggle with like finding a lot of community. A lot of my friends are straight, and like I kind of
Right.
yearn for, when you're just like, I'm still like learning that I don't know where my community is. And it's just like a never ending journey. I think when you're in this community and living your authentic life, you're going to walk into these friendships. Like, you're going to meet people at random fundraisers or marches, or you get talking to someone at a protest, and you just never know who's around the corner. And like, there is so much life after school, and you will find your chosen family if your immediate family don't accept you. It's like scarred for them anyway. Do you know what I mean? Embarrassing. But yeah, that's not very articulate.
I think that's fabulous. I think that's fabulous. And I think you've touched on something there, that community is something that is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And it is something that you have to be inconvenienced by in order to support. It's not something that just happens. And I think it is something that you have to negotiate, and you fall into and you fall out of, and it is something that is ever evolving. And I think that is the misunderstanding of, oh, just because you suck a little cock doesn't mean that we all share things in common, or eat a pussy,
Yeah.
that doesn't keep us in, excuse me, and that doesn't, it is the act of coming together and recognizing that, oh, we are stronger together, and that even if it is uncomfortable, I will always have your back.
Like, I need this advice because I'm like in a hermit phase at the moment, like really badly, like not in a cute rest and relaxation hermit phase.
word.
I'm like, am I like going back into my anxiety tunnel
Yeah.
again? But anyway, like I really, and I don't go out a lot. I find this huge thing in Ireland, like our community is so heavily associated with like alcohol and like nights out, whereas I just don't go out anymore. And I'm like, where do I find the gays?
Yeah.
Where do I find my trans friends?
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's a never, like I'm 33 and I'm wondering still, like, do you know what I mean? I'm always on the hunt for new friends. If anyone's listening, want a
It is
goth
a
girlfriend,
journey, yeah.
lesbian, but you
It is
know,
a journey.
yeah,
I think for me, like something I would say to someone who's trying to be themselves, and like often like everything is to do with branding and everyone to do this, that, and the other, that like you that having the people around you that will tell you what it is and to know what opinions you need to trust and just trusting them is actually all you have to worry about, because there are certain opinions that you will receive, whether it's from family members or whether it's from friends or whether it's from people online, that like they're none of your business and they don't serve you, because not everyone has your best interests in heart, and you have to find out and discover, and with trials
Yeah.
and tribulations,
Yeah.
you must discover who are those people that you care about, and yes, do it for them, but ultimately do it for you, babe. And so I think when we're we're in this Pride season now, I think that is something that we must continue to do. That it must be something that we continue to look around and decide who are we doing this for.
Yeah.
Who do you think you're doing it for, Keen?
I would say finding your tribe is a sentence that's been thrown around my whole life, and at points in my life I thought I had it, but honestly, joining Gaeilgeoir, which is my LGBTQ plus friendly GA club, we have straight people. But like that really is when I felt unlocked in like finding my tribe, and like that is like, it's been so transformative for me. It really feels like I've like moved to that next level and like evangelized, is that the word?
That's so nice.
Metamorphosized. And I think those are the people I do it for. And the people who watch me, like a lot of my followers are quite young, or they're teachers who are inspiring the next generation of young. So I'm like, I'm so grateful that those are the people that are following me, because they're spreading that into the next generation. That was terrible French, my ex.
Stick to the Irish young one.
It's so interesting. Like I feel like we're representing so many facets of just humans right now, because I crave that community. I haven't found that. Like I'm still kind
It's
of
waiting
like,
on you.
do you know what I mean? Like I'm just like maybe a little lesbian seances coming up. I don't know, you know.
Get more witchy with it.
Get more witchy with it. Literally, like honestly. But like that's like Keen talking about like just sport and finding your tribe. Like I'm sitting here going, oh my God, like I really crave that, and I'm really still in the process of looking for that. And
That's your goal for Pride.
that's my goal for Pride, is to find gay witches, trans witches. Hey, what's up? You
I
see
feel
me?
like all the witches are queer, surely.
I know, but like there's like Urban Outfitters witches and then actual witches. Do you know what I mean?
And on that note,
Burn those witches.
burn
Yeah.
those witches.
Yeah.
Well, Gurmy, look, Octon, I had so much fun talking to you.
Icons.
I feel so rejuvenated.
I feel so
I need more
upgone.
episodes. I think this
This
trio
is
of
great.
fire signs is
We
kind
can just hang out.
You guys can leave.
Yeah, be yourself, be gay, and
Do
be
crimes.
loud.
Yeah.
Be angry.
Be angry. Get mad.
Don't be palatable.
Get
Don't
madder.
be palatable. Yes. Oh,
Happy Pride,
Palestine.
everyone. Happy
Yes.
Palestine. Gurmila.
bye.
You've been listening to Say It With Pride. A special thank you to all our guests who took part in this series and shared their stories. Visual design and video edit by Stephen O'Farrell and Connor Daly. Music courtesy of Audio Network. Developed and produced by series producer Adam Murphy Dunn. Executive producers Sasha Hamrogue and Paul McGregor. Say It With Pride is an Onic original podcast.